Before I introduce you to my next guest today, I want to make sure that you're aware of two new resources to help you to increase your productivity, clarify your purpose, and improve your communication skills. The first one is our Facebook community called Leadership with Purpose. So it's a private community. So go to Facebook groups, search for Leadership with Purpose, and send a request to be invited into the group. There's a few questions for you to answer, and then live to have you a part of that community of other like-minded leaders. Our team is really excited about launching the Next Level Coaching Roadmap. It's a group coaching format, so highly recommend that you check that out and to get your questions answered. If you're a leader that's experiencing any of the following, this is definitely a group format that's going to help you break through to your next level within leadership and your career. So if you have any fear about moving to the next level in your leadership career, this is a group that you'll want to connect with. If you have loss of confidence, if you're kind of confused, like not knowing really how to tap into the hidden job market, if you have a desire to really to grow to the next level, this is definitely a group that you'll want to be able to connect with. If you want to know how to stay calm in a high stress environment, there's going to be strategies, tips, and resources, conversations all around how to develop skills to do just that. So if you want more information, head over to warrenwandling.com/the next level coaching. And in there on that page, you'll notice more information about the coaching roadmap, but also there's a link for you to schedule a phone call with me so we can help really figure out if this is the right fit to helping you take your career to the next level. Okay, again, that's warrenwandling.com/the next level coaching. Really looking forward to our conversation today on how to become an obstacle buster. We provide strategies, tips, and resources helping leaders and entrepreneurs to overcome their obstacles, build resilience, and achieve success. And I have a great guest with me today to help us do just that. Steve Edwards. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Warren, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our conversation today. Really interesting background. I think it's pretty relevant for our time today, certainly in reference to how the landscape of business is changing, and certainly from hiring talent is changing as well. So as the founder of Premier Virtual, tell us about your business.
Premier Virtual is a software that was designed to conduct virtual hiring events, virtual trade shows, virtual conferences. It's a SaaS platform, so organizations can license it and put on their own events.
Oh, excellent. Wow. It's probably very cutting edge in reference to giving the leverage then back to the HR or the individual business owner to be able to hold their own events.
Yeah, absolutely. I come from the in-person job fair world. I put on in-person job fairs for 9 years before I got into this. So I saw a change in the marketplace back in 2017 that candidates would rather apply online than wait in line. Found out about virtual, started testing it. And then in 2019, I developed my own platform. And instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to host job fairs, I allow organizations, we work with a lot of veterans organizations, workforce development boards. They can all use the platform for individual hiring events for a company, an interview day. Companies are using it for interview days. We had the record-breaking largest job fair ever with 1,700 companies and 17,000 candidates on our platform.
Oh, wow. So then does an organization decide, is they purchase it by, is it a certain time limit that they have access to that platform, or is it a purchase position, or what's?
Yeah. So, we're very flexible. We have packages from 1 event, 4 events, 12 events, 52 events, unlimited events, right? Organizations that want to just do, 1 event a year. We have some that do quarterly, some do monthly events, some do weekly events. But we have a lot of our clients too that use it for their virtual hiring room. So now they have everything in there because within our platform, it's not just, hey, here's a virtual event. We customize their company booths. So they have a little bit of information about the company, their jobs. They can submit their resumes to the jobs on there. Then they can go in and they can see what the company does. They can research them, look at their social media, and they can chat and go into a video interview in a matter of seconds. And organizations are able to really look at candidates, and instead of just looking at a resume, right, that they got sent to them on a job board, they can look at the candidate's resume. They can look at the experience. We allow the candidates to put all their experience in there aside from the resume, and then they can do a video interview on the platform. So there's the questions. The organization can make questions up, right? Tell us about yourself. What makes you unique? They can choose questions, create a video question, and then that candidate can record their own answers. So it has a built-in video interview right into the platform.
Wow, it sounds pretty like a robust system in reference to really streamlining the process of interviewing compared to if it's in person, right? Because it leverages your time in reference to being able to vet a candidate.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about your time at a job fair, right? If we just think about a job fair for a second, right? A candidate, they have to get up in the morning. They actually have to shower. They have to get dressed. They have to get in their car or public transportation, get to the conference center or hotel, wherever the job fair is, get in there, wait in lines, get up to the company, and hopefully the company has a job that they're looking for. And if not, they just wasted time, and then they have to go to the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. Well, here they can log into a virtual event. They don't have to get up, right? They can do like that Amazon commercial where the guy had the suit on up top and was in his underwear down below. And they can go in and they can just, see what the companies do, see their jobs, and only talk to the companies that make sense for them. So it's efficient and much more efficient for a candidate now to talk to a company, but it's also efficient for the recruiters because they're not sitting there talking to candidates that aren't qualified or are looking for a job that's not the ones that they're looking to hire for. And they don't have to be out of the office all day.
Right, exactly. So what do you think is the greatest obstacle your clients encounter?
Every client out there or non-client has the same obstacle today. It's finding the right talent, right? Everybody's looking for the right talent. Organizations now, are conducting their own virtual hiring events to find that right talent, because that right talent before had to be in their backyard. But now companies are allowing, people to work remote. So it opens up the talent pool all over. They don't have to be sitting in an office anymore. So they're trying to find that right talent, and they're trying to find the way to find that right talent.
Yeah, that's fascinating in reference to that leverage with your tool that you've created to help to identify the right talent, as well as to leverage the time for the recruiter to be able to identify that right person instead of just by the resume or scheduling a phone interview, that they can have it right there on your platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Think about, right, current situation, or let's call it a year ago situation or 2 years ago situation. A candidate would apply, right? Well, first the company would post a job either through their ATS to go to a job board. And then a candidate would apply. It would go back to the job board, then go back to the ATS. Then they had to call, email, text them, and hopefully they would call back right away. Then they would have to set up a phone interview or their first interview, get them in, and then they would take them down the process. So how long did that process just take? Where now on a virtual hiring event, candidates are coming in and they can do that pre-screen right there, all in one. So it saves time. It's cutting down the percentage of time to get in front of that candidate.
Right, exactly. So you've been, obviously you were nine years in the in-person events prior to this project that you're currently working on. So what were some key strategies that contributed to your success building your business?
The first was, I got to say, my wife, right? My wife and my business partner, is we were putting on in-person events. But, as I was in 2017, I was, recently married, had a new son, and candidates stopped coming to job fairs. And when candidates stop coming, companies want to stop paying. And I'm like, I got to be able to, I'm a new father, a new husband. I got to pay the bills. Somebody told me about virtual career fairs, and I saw a demo of it and I instantly fell in love. And I said, this is the future. People thought I was crazy. Even in 2018, people were like, you're crazy. When I announced I'm going 100% virtual and I'm going to build my own virtual platform, people are like, you're nuts. Like that's not going to happen. And I was like, I'm looking at trends, right? What does my 4-year-old have at home? He has an iPad. What's my 7-year-old? He has an iPad. right? He can do anything. My 7-year-old, right, has all the phone numbers of all the people that he wants to talk to, right? Family members only, right? And he goes down when he wants to talk. He knows who each one of them is, right? And my 4-year-old can go through his phone. That's the way that the world is going. And anybody that thinks that I'm crazy, they saw with COVID. COVID was a catalyst. COVID showed people how virtual works. COVID showed people how virtual was efficient. You can get in front of more people in less time, right? And if you think about this stat, the in-person job fair world, candidates from the registration to showing up to an in-person job fair was less than 30%. Now, I was 50% at my in-person job fairs just because we did things a little bit different with reminders and a lot of things out there. But the average is less than 30. I mean, there's some of the larger in-person job fair companies that had less than a 10% show ratio. Now, virtual job fairs on my platform are averaging over 80% login ratio.
Oh, wow.
80%. Like, we've had some companies that they'd host their association would put on an event over a 90% login ratio. Now, people may say, well, Steve, that's for small events. That's the only in small events. The state of Massachusetts did a job fair on my platform that was record breaking, right? 1,700 companies, 17,000 candidates, and had almost an 80% login ratio. That's unheard of. First of all, it couldn't be done in person, but it's unheard of for people to come in. So when you look at, right, where things are going out there, just looking at a trend, looking at what's going on out there in the marketplace, you may hate virtual. There's a lot of people that hate virtual, but guess what? The candidates out there like it. So you have to do what the candidates like today.
Right. That's pretty impressive numbers, Steve, in reference to the login rate.
Yeah, it's we were excited. When I was doing the events, I was like, okay, I want to be able to, right, make sure that our numbers are higher. Now, we saw a little bit of a dip, right? Kind of, as March 2020, as everything was good, and then you started to see, right, early of 2021, a dip in the show ratio was there. But what we found was some of the organizations weren't sending reminder messages out to candidates. So the candidates, right, if you think about, right, Johnny or Susie candidates, they register for a job fair, they may forget about it. So what we did is I actually built in reminders, customized reminders, so all of the candidates get it. So now those companies that weren't sending them out, now it's built in for them. They don't have to do anything. And their ratios, their login ratios skyrocketed back up to where all the other people that were sending out reminders. So it's the small things out there that you have to do to make a successful event.
So why is it important for leaders to stay ahead of the curve and embrace the evolution of recruiting?
Recruiting kind of follows trends. There's always something that's out there that's going to help you. There's new things always, right? And when I talk about, right, the evolution of recruiting, it's funny. We actually made some funny videos that had, right, old school music and old school TVs. But if you think about it, back in 1995, how did companies do a lot of recruiting, right? They'd post a job in the newspaper, and then candidates would mail their resumes in. Fast forward, 1996, Monster came out, and Monster changed the whole game. Then Career Builder changed the mousetrap a little bit. Then you had Indeed came out and ZipRecruiter, they changed the mousetrap completely, right? Indeed kind of flipped the industry completely different, where they were, at first they were an aggregator site. So all they did is they pulled all of the stuff from all of the job boards to go onto there. So even if you were advertising on Monster, Indeed would pull it in. Well, they built their database like crazy, and now they own the industry. Right. And some of the other ones just didn't keep up with the time. In ZipRecruiters, you post one, you push one button and it goes out to all these job boards that are out there. Now, I may not need to advertise on, pinkelephant.com and, hiring truckers in North Dakota, but it's a great business model, right? It changed that. And as it changed, right, people either moved with it or moved away from it, right? And you always have to follow, right? It's like, what's the next thing? I say they continue to change the mousetrap. Right now, Indeed on the job board side is the major player out there. And people are like, oh, nobody could ever take down Indeed, right? And I'm not trying to compete against Indeed. That's a different, a different industry altogether. But they said you can't take down Indeed. But people said the same thing about Monster, right? When Monster at its peak was valued at $5.5 billion, that Monster couldn't be taken down. It can. It's somebody that's coming out, changes the mousetrap, right? Think of, I look at virtual almost like I look at a landline phone, right? Is at first you had landline phones and you were only able to go as far as your cord or the antenna could take you, right? And then cell phones came out and changed the world. And if you think about in-person job fairs, you were only, right, you were stuck to those people that would get out of bed and go to the in-person event, the companies that would drive there in that local area. But now virtual opens the entire world up. We just did a worldwide job fair on our platform. Worldwide. It was unbelievable.
Wow, that's exciting. In reference to, right, the changing the landscapes within the talent pool, right? Because it's not just for your local area. It's limitless almost.
Yeah, people want remote jobs now, right? They talk about the great resignation and, what's happening. Why is that? People want choices now, right? If you think about 2 years ago, if you were happy at your job and you liked it, you didn't take a phone call from a recruiter. You didn't take a LinkedIn message from a recruiter. You were happy. Well, a lot of those happy people, when COVID hit, lost their jobs. So now they went out and they started doing other things, right? Why is the hospitality sector right now hurting so much? Because all those people that lost their jobs, they either got retrained or got into different jobs, and they don't have that anymore. And people now see, whoa, well, there's options. Because what are companies doing? Because they want talent, they're opening up their pocketbooks. They're opening up their benefit packages, right? They're giving people the ability to bring their, dogs, cats, and kids to the office, and they're letting them work from home, right? I'm from small town Wisconsin. I love my family up there, but I don't want to live there, right? And I moved away a long time ago because it's way too cold. But, think about if somebody wanted to, live in Florida, but still work in Wisconsin, and they could work remote, it's there. I have people that I know that are like, they unplugged, they sold their house, bought an RV, and are traveling the country, working remote. You couldn't do that before. You now can do that. It gives you the opportunity.
Right. So I'm curious, what are the keys in running a successful virtual career fair?
So really there's 3 main keys to a successful virtual career fair. One is using the right platform. And we'll talk about that in a second. Second is really, you got to advertise the event. So many people think about, hey, we put on a job fair, but you don't advertise it. People aren't going to come, right? This isn't Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. You have to advertise, right? Social media, get out there, job boards, you have to be out there, right? And the third is really reminding people of the event. I talked about that before. Candidates don't always think about, right? Especially if somebody is on, registers for a job fair 3 weeks or a month out, they forget about it. Mm-hmm. You have to remind them. You have to be in front of them, right? I mean, even we know that, and right, like we had that today,
right? Yeah.
If something's not on my calendar, I don't know it, right? And I always tell people right, I've had some things where they'll put something on my calendar, but they don't put a reminder on it. So I go from call to call to call all day, from clients to potential clients to our software development to our, I know what's next call. I'm going podcast, all this all day. If something doesn't pop up on my calendar, I'm not staring at my computer the whole day. Mm-hmm. So, right, you got to send the reminders out to these people. So we built in, right, from a time frame and what's in those reminders so that candidates go. But that's why our platform has such a high ratio of a login ratio. Now, the first one is I look at is, when I said using the right platform. Yes, I say that, right? One, it's because of our platform. But I've been on a lot of other virtual platforms that are good. that I'm like, hey, this is very easy to use, right? Because what a lot of people unfortunately did in the virtual world, right? Because there's been a lot of people that kind of jumped in since COVID hit, and they build this thing from a technology standpoint. They didn't build it from a human standpoint. And what I did is when I built this, I said, listen, this needs to be sexy, but it needs to be easy, right? The users that are on this are a wide range from, high school kids looking to a job to, people's in their 60s, right? That are out there looking for jobs, attending conferences, and not everybody understands technology. So to have all the bells and whistles and crazy, and I got some phenomenal bells and whistles on ours, but it's easy to use, right? So that's one aspect. And the platforms there. I mean, I have a whole team that all they do is when we get a client on, they train their clients and they train the organizations. We do trainings all day long so that everybody understands. We do virtual on a daily basis. They don't. So you have to do that. I've been on, some of the other platforms out there where, somebody didn't choose my platform, but I attended the conference because it was a good conference. And they call me back afterwards. I'm like, I'll never attend your conference again. They're like, why? I'm like, the platform was terrible. They're like, oh, you're just saying it because we didn't use yours. And I'm like, listen, let's look at this. I'm like, here are the screenshots. It's not easy to use. Like, you can't chat. It's you can't find these things on there. It's not me. It's what people are saying. I was on a conference one time. It was great. And it was one that had avatars that walked around. So you could walk around and you would see somebody and you would see their name above their head and you'd walk up and you'd start talking to them. And I'm like, oh, it's interesting. Not really what we want. That's not our clients. Our clients don't want that. But I walked up to this one guy that I knew. Well, I didn't realize he was like talking with some other people as well. And I jumped in and I went into their conversation because I just walked up to them. And they were complaining so bad about the platform. Now, these were the hosts of the event. They didn't know that I was standing right there and I'm listening to their entire conversation about how bad the platform was.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
So that's not a good thing, right? It looked really cool. It was very tech, but it wasn't, right? It was everybody had issues with it. So you can't, that's why I say right platform is looking at it, right? I designed it specifically for career fairs, right? We do trade shows, conferences, benefit events, all that, but hiring is really our niche. And that's why we're number one on most of the rating platforms, all of the awards that we get, because we were really developed and we go for what our clients want.
So you had mentioned the Great Resignation earlier. So in your opinion, what's really driving the Great Resignation?
A couple different things. People want the ability to work from home. People can live, like I said, they can live wherever they want. I live in South Florida, right? People are moving down here. It's crazy, the housing market, because people want to get out of these other states for whatever, political, for weather, for whatever reason. They're moving down here crazy. They can do that now with the options. Companies, they need their talent. They are offering, right, different kinds of benefit packages. I mean, I was on a webinar this week with a bunch of recruiters on what keeps recruiters up at night. And they're talking about how people have gym memberships. Like when I built this new office, I ripped out the conference room and I built a beautiful gym in there for our employees. So they don't have to have, spend money on a gym membership anymore. They can come to the gym. I built a shower in there as well. So they can, come in early in the morning, late at night, whenever they want, they can go in. And that's what candidates want now. They want to be able to come and, work from home, come in flip-flops. I used to wear a suit and tie every day. Now I wear polos most days or a collared shirt. There's days that, it's on a casual, maybe there's shorts and flip-flops. I don't require them to wear anything crazy, but those are the kind of things that people want. They want to be able to have different things out there, right? Giving back, the trips and stuff like that. Like I said earlier, right? A happy employee 2 years ago, they weren't looking. Now everybody's got a feeler out there, right? They're working. And you see people now are jumping jobs more, and not just about money, right? Money's there, but they're jumping because of other things. Maybe it's a work-life balance. I've seen people that have left their company because their company wanted to go remote, but they wanted to work at the office. So they left their company to go to a company to do the opposite. So they could go back in person on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's really interesting. We've never seen it ever before in reference to the landscape of the talent pool, in reference to how people are so flexible, but looking for the right opportunity, that it's a win-win and it's not just a job.
Yep. Yep. It's a
So,
big, big thing out there.
so leadership is influence. So what's one of your top strategies that you share with your clients to help them increase results?
I think the big thing is, one, they got to advertise their events. I think they need to have hybrid events, right? I talk about this a lot. I used to say there was three types of people in the world right now. Now I say there's three types. You have one type of people that are out there and they will not leave their house, right? They are so scared of COVID and everything out there. And if they do leave their house, they have their gloves on, they have a mask on, they're completely head to toe covered because they're so worried and they won't go out there. The second type of people you have out there is the people that they're like, I'm going to go out. I'm over this COVID. I don't care. I'm not going to wear a mask. I want to go out. I want to live my life. If I get sick, I get sick. Those are the two people I used to say this. Now I added a third one in, and that's the people that are right in between. They're a little worried about it. They'll go out in public, but they'll wear a mask, right? If they're going to be in a, grocery store or an event, they still want to go. They want to live their life, but they're going to wear a mask out there. So if you think about those three aspects of people, if you only hold an in-person event, you lose a lot of people. If you only hold in a virtual event, you lose those people that want to be in person. So having a hybrid event, I don't care if it's a conference, a networking event, a job fair, especially, because you're going to have some companies that still won't send their people to travel, right? I saw a study one time that some of the companies that recruit out of colleges before had to choose which colleges they went to because of cost, because of being out of the office, or sometimes the colleges had the job fairs on the same day. Well, now they could actually be on multiple job fairs at the same time because they were sitting in the office and they were all virtual. So they could attend all of them and the costs were substantially less and they could get to more people. So you got to have the option of in-person and virtual. So leaves nobody that can attend your event.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I believe that success leaves clues, and one of those clues, Steve, are the books that successful people read. What are some books that you would recommend?
I'll tell you right now, my favorite author, and I do a lot more listening than I do reading, just because of time. But I'm a Grant Cardone fan.
Oh, yes.
And,
Okay.
I'm a huge, I have the Grant Cardone. I listen to all of his Grant Cardone University. And, a lot of the stuff, Grant Cardone is great. There's some people that think he's crazy. There's people that don't like Grant Cardone, right? Because he's cocky and he's got to where he's at. But if you really listen to what he says or read his books, it's like you said, right? Success leaves clues unless you're clueless. And it's so interesting to listen to what he has. And I mean, I'm going to tell the story because you kind of asked it about this. Is this morning, I'm in my car, I'm listening to him talk about customer support and how important customer support is. And, if somebody goes to your website, because they're frustrated and then they want to call, they don't want to go and talk to an answering machine. They want to talk to a person. And it was just talking about how getting somebody on the phone is so important because now, people that aren't able to talk, they get frustrated. As I'm doing it, right, as I'm there, I had to make a call. I had an issue with a retailer that I ordered a couch from. And right, the first time they ordered a custom couch, took 4 months to get here. Then they sent me the wrong color and the wrong couch, right, and missing pieces. So we sent it back. They finally, 4 months later, send me the new one. It was damaged and came in, and I told them that I needed called in to put in the information. One, I put in all the information online because you have to do it within 24 hours that they don't take it. So I did that. I waited for them to call me back. Supposed to call me back in 3 days. It took 2 weeks. I called them and they're like, oh, we'll send somebody out. So then it took another 2 weeks for that person to come out because he no-showed the first time. Came out, said, yes, here, we'll fix it. We'll fix the couch and we'll come in and we'll clean the stains that they had on there. Right now, this couch was made for us. So the reason I'm saying this is that was 2 months ago that guy came out. And today I'm on chat with them because the whole time was 2 hours to get a person. And I'm like chatting with them on text message. And finally they're not answering, right? They're just not giving me an answer. And I go, can I talk to a manager? Right. And they're like, oh, well, we can send the person on. I go, no, can I please talk to a manager? I had to ask twice. They came back and they said, it's going to take 24 to 48 hours for a manager to call you back. I've now been dealing with this for almost 10 months. That's why I like Grant Cardone, because he has little things that are in everyday life that you can take it. And I picked up so much information. John Maxwell, I used to do a lot of John Maxwell stuff. I have, I have a mentor, not really a mentor, but somebody that I've done a lot of work with, Kelly Merbler, and she does a lot with Maxwell. Maxwell was her mentor. Yeah. And I just love what he does from leadership, right? John Maxwell is probably the best out there on anything on leadership, on, just on sales and customers and day to day. I think Grant Cardone's phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. Now that was a nugget of value bomb that you just dropped for our listeners. Like both of those authors, if you don't have any of their books or material, to make sure that you start listening to them because they're chock full of great strategies.
Mm-hmm.
So what does the future hold for you, Steve? Are you working on any other special projects?
I love that question. We're always working on something. Our platform continues to grow and develop. In the thing about us is what we do. And I said this earlier, it's not just about what I think is there, my team is. I get feedback from all of my clients. I get feedback from organizations that are on our platform. And when we start seeing trends or anything, we start adding things in. So when we look at our roadmap, a lot of, companies out there, they'll have a roadmap and it'll be 6 months out. I actually have a roadmap call every single week. So I have a roadmap call 1 week, and then the next week it's the refinement of what's going into our software sprint. So we're always going in to be able to, really be the best platform that's out there. So a special project, no, because I call it the ongoing developing and getting better. So
yeah, so it's definitely agile.
I've never seen something like this. I'm not from the tech world, so I've learned a ton of information about, technology and developing it and seeing that. I got a great team around me. I think it was Henry Ford that said it. It's like, I'm not the smartest man out there, but the people that are around me are the best in their industry. And I feel the same way. The people that I partnered with, and, you'll never hear me call them employees or use the word boss or anything. These are our team members that we all work together, and they bring stuff to us on a daily basis. That's why we were, voted. We weren't number 1. We were number 8 in South Florida Business Journal's best places to work. But that's because of our team members here. And that's what really makes us special as an organization.
Yeah, that's exciting. So I know our listeners would want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to be able to reach out?
You want to connect directly with me, you can go to LinkedIn, and I'm Stephen G. Edwards. And actually I go Stephen G. So then I always know if people send me spam emails because they'll have my full name. They don't just say Steve. So if you put your middle initial, you'll know if people are just actually spamming you. But Stephen G. Edwards at Premier Virtual. My direct number is 561-880-0024. Or you can go to Premier Virtual. If you want a demo of our platform, want to just have a strategy call to find out if this is something you can work. We have live people that are on my chat. And, call us 561-717-9717 and schedule a demo. A lot of people may not, right? They're still out there thinking, how is this going to work for me? But guess what? It can work for almost everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a small mom and pop company, you still need to hire. And how are you going to attract people? So small mom and pops, statewide, national hiring events, It's all there. Anybody can use the platform. Again, premiervirtual.com or Stephen G. Edwards at LinkedIn. And my email is steve@premiervirtual.com.
Okay, well, perfect. And I'll make sure all of those links and contact information are in the show notes.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Steve, for sharing your strategies, tips, and resources, really helping our listeners to be able to break through their obstacles to achieve success.
Thank you. I appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you. Well, this is Warren Wandling, your host of How to Become an Obstacle Buster. And remember, until next time, be an obstacle buster.